the Chi-Town experience on the flight. Let me go tune in to Keek on the mic. He gon' make sure we get our news and highlights. When you get on YouTube, you better hit the likes.
A Bears insider just dropped another critical update to the Ben Johnson to the Chicago Bears saga. Hey, what's going on, Bears fans? Thank you so much for joining me for another episode of Keek on the Mic, the podcast all about the Chicago Bears. As always, if you're new to the channel, make sure you hit that subscribe button and the notification to catch all Bears content right here on the podcast. Bears fans, make sure you do me another huge favor by also hitting the like button on today's episode of Keek on the Mic. So, Bears fans, we have a little bit more news in regard to the Ben Johnson to the Chicago Bears saga that seems like it's been going back and forth. He is obviously the clear favorite to possibly become the next Chicago Bears head coach, and it's due to multiple reasons. He's a great offensive coordinator, had the Detroit Lions firing all cylinders for the last couple of years, having one of the best offenses in the National Football League. And obviously, there's been reports that Ben Johnson has interest in the Bears job due to the fact that they have quarterback Caleb Williams. And that's obviously a huge factor. However, there has been this lingering fear surrounding the Ben Johnson to the Chicago Bears rumors. And there's one thing that should be fearful about the Bears looking for another head coach, because they've had a tough time finding good head coaches. But one of the big things with the Chicago Bears over the last couple of cycles of them looking for their next head coach, it is their patience. They never really been patient in terms of filling in key roles within the organizations. I think for the Bears, this would be a good opportunity for them to learn patience, not really rush this decision. And obviously there are certain things when you're making these type of decisions, maybe, you want to make sure you fill the position as fast as possible, just in case you really like a guy. But at the same time, there's no problem in drawing this process out in terms of finding the perfect fit for the head coach, not only for Caleb Williams, but for the Chicago Bears organization. But here is the big thing. Once again, the Bears have never loved to be patient when hiring key roles in the organization. So now the question is, will the Chicago Bears be willing to be patient if Ben Johnson is their guy? Because obviously the Lions are still fighting for the number one overall seed. Despite all their injuries, they still could be very well making a deep playoff run and maybe into February to where they could possibly make the Super Bowl, right? So will the Bears be able to remain patient if Ben Johnson is their guy? Jeff Hughes of the Bears blog provided an answer to that question, and this is what he had to say, Bears fans. He says, Ben Johnson's people have made it clear to the Bears that he's interested, but the process of communication with Johnson will be complicated by the expected deep playoff run for the Lions. Would the Bears be okay waiting for Johnson until after the Super Bowl? He said, yes, I was told, if he's the guy. And Bears fans, this is really interesting because it is very true. I don't think Ben Johnson's going to want to take interviews or even speak to teams until after the playoffs are over for the Detroit Lions. If the Detroit Lions possibly have a first round bye, which remains to be seen they have a lot of injuries, so maybe they'll actually give up that first round bye. But let's say the Detroit Lions do secure that number one overall seed in this year's playoffs. Maybe the Chicago Bears can speak to him on that during that bye week, but doesn't mean Ben Johnson will want to speak to the Bears until after the playoffs. So the Bears in this process are going to have to be patient if Ben Johnson's the guy. Once again, Jeff Hughes of the Bears blog is a guy that I really trust in terms of Chicago Bears news. He has a lot of intel within the organization. So when he speaks, I tend to listen. So this is me just reacting to his report. Once again, he made it very clear that Ben Johnson is interested in the Chicago Bears job. But at the same time, it also sounds like even though he's interested in being the next head coach of the Chicago Bears, he's possibly not going to want to speak to them until after the Detroit Lions are either out of the playoffs or potentially win the Super Bowl in February. So now that goes to our point. Will the Chicago Bears be able to break that trend and actually be patient? Because once again, waiting for Ben Johnson would show something new within the Chicago Bears organization. Once again, they have never been patient. They want to fill key jobs as quickly as possible rather than wait for the best potential candidates, even though there's a whole bunch of evidence that strategies of waiting it out could be better in finding the perfect head coach for your organization. Once again, the San Francisco 49ers didn't hire Kyle Shanahan until February 6th. Mike McDaniel wasn't hired until February 6th as well. Kevin O'Connell of the Minnesota Vikings wasn't hired until February 16th. Zach Taylor for the Cincinnati Bengals wasn't hired until February 4th. Bears fans, are you guys sensing this pattern? Teams that are willing to wait and be patient are landing really good head coaches. And the reason why they're landing on these good head coaches, because most of these coaches that are hired later in the year into February, these are coaches that are making deep playoff runs in the National Football League with their current teams. They're not just hiring scrubs off the street, coaches that are already available, because the teams that they're originally coaching for are not good. Once again, Ben Johnson has already done this once before, helping Detroit reach the NFC Championship game last year. Now he's the primary reason why they're even in contention for the number one seed in the playoffs this year. One of the worst things the Chicago Bears can do during this coaching cycle is overthink. Once again, the Bears have been through this before, Bears fans. Rather than taking the reigning coach of the year in Bruce Arians a couple of years ago, they got creative and hired Mark Trestman. Rather going with Dan Quinn, a proven head coach, a coach that has been to the Super Bowl in the past, they decided to not rush the process and go out and hire Matt Eberflus. That has failed time and time again within the Chicago Bears organization, maybe for the first time in their lives, in this organization's life, Bears fans. Maybe they should be patient, and if Ben Johnson is the guy, don't rush this process. Let's wait for Ben Johnson. If he is the perfect candidate for the Chicago Bears job, if he is the perfect fit for Caleb Williams, you wait for Ben Johnson, right? Even if it's Joe Brady, if Joe Brady makes a long, deep playoff run, if he is the right guy for Caleb Williams, and if he's the right guy for the Chicago Bears coaching job, you need to change your process and not rush this decision, because this is going to be the most important hire for the Chicago Bears. So it remains to be seen if the Chicago Bears will be patient. Once again, Jeff Hughes of the Bears blog, basically confirmed that they will be patient. If Ben Johnson's the guy, they are willing to wait until he's out of the playoffs to speak to him about their head coach opening. And I think that would be the perfect route for the Chicago Bears, because when you look at the history of them hiring coaches, them rushing into hiring these scrub coaches, these coaches that never have done nothing, even with their own past teams, and they come in and end up being lame duck head coaches for the Chicago Bears. It's time for the Bears to change this trend. So, Bears fans, before I let you guys go, let me ask you guys this. How do you guys feel about the report that Jeff Hughes had to say on the Bears possibly waiting for Ben Johnson until he is done with his respective playoff run with the Detroit Lions? You think that is the right path for the Chicago Bears to take? Let me know how you're feeling down below in the comment section. But as always, Bears fans, make sure you guys continue to hit that subscribe button and the notification to catch all Bears content right here on the podcast. Make sure you follow me on all my social media platforms, and make sure you share this episode of Geek on the Mic with every single Bears that you know. Better than that, back for our all new Bears podcast right here on Geek on the Mic. Thanks, guys, and as always, bear down.
You ain't bout it, you ain't bout it, you ain't Geek on the Mic. You ain't bout it, you ain't bout it, you ain't Geek on the Mic. You can go and subscribe, cause I be on it right. You ain't bout it, you ain't bout it, you ain't Geek on the Mic.